All right, thanks, Ian. I think that's very generous of an introduction. So I think my work is very simple, given what our previous presenters have worked on, and I'll kind of build up on what Wamboi has said, but rather trying to answer a different question. And basically, she mentioned that co-banking it's an expensive undertaking, and probably you need $1 million kind of an investment. And possibly someone is thinking, what if I don't have that kind of budget? What happens? Do I have a space in the cloud or in the digital transformation? And the answer is yes, because there is a cloud option, and cloud allows you to consume some of these services on a kind of an outsourced model, and therefore we'll be just going through how do you build a SACCO in the cloud? Is it even possible? What are the steps? What are some of the things that we need to consider? So I don't know, as people from the SACCO or as people who are running SACCOs, I don't know how many of us are in the cloud. They would consider their SACCOs already in the cloud. By show of hands, I don't know whether. Okay, awesome. I think looks like a minority, but I want to come here and say, the definition of the cloud is broad, and perhaps everyone of us is in the cloud because you're thinking about email solutions, thinking about service systems like you have a website, you have a cloud PBX. You're also thinking about you have an ERP or a CRM or a HR system. Possibly you send bulk SMS and it is on a cloud portal. But mostly what we'll be dwelling on is the main platform, and in this case the cloud co-banking. So perhaps the final one is where, now that you would say the entire organization is in the cloud. Now, the question is why? Why should you, build your organization in the cloud or build your SACCO in the cloud? And there are many objectives, but some of the objectives could be like growth engine. In line with every presentation we have had here, you've heard that it's time to digitally transform. And if you are digitally transforming, then what is the engine? What's the core as you undertaking your transformation? And that's where now you need to think about a core banking system, as Wamboi has said, and also in this case, what about a cloud core banking system? Someone else will be looking at cost saving. Someone else will be saying, as a SACCO, we need to focus on the core functionality, which is serving our customers, our members. And therefore, we don't want to have bulk IT functionalities in our organization, so we just need to outsource that. Someone else will want to say that, for us, we need to outsource, and we want to start small. We don't have a big budget, and perhaps I could get one user, one agent kind of subscription from some of these cloud systems and get moving, get started. Someone else is looking to tap into integrations, all these channels that are available. Think about you want M-Pesa integration, you want members to get mobile loans, you have an app that is offering more than just statements. So at the core of it could be now the cloud core banking. And most importantly, as Ari said, customer value. I think everything we do must relate to our customer. We must be thinking, what does our customer want? And possibly with the new generation of Gen Z, your closest step to get to them is starting with maybe a cloud core banking, and now building on top of that. Now, of course, you also need to look at benefits and what they call cons, but for me I would call it trade-offs, because I am very positive that going to the cloud is the way, or I mean, it will outweigh not going there. And of course, think about cost saving, no IT costs. You don't need to invest in very expensive servers, human resource to maintain those servers, our whole IT department. Think about scalability. Now, traditionally, if a SACCO is opening a new branch, they need to invest further in IT and other things. And possibly with cloud, you'll just be scaling the system. You don't need to do further investment into your platform. If you're thinking about expansion, you're thinking about marketing functionality, not necessarily platform and your IT costs. Then data security. There is another dimension to data security where you're looking at possibly you don't have the budget to hire the best cybersecurity personnel. But what happens if you can have an outsourced model whereby some of these cloud security providers, that is their core. Cloud banking and the security of that is their core. So they have invested in the best talent for that. And what they have with that is they want to ensure that your data, your customers' data is safe. Then of course, customer value. The possibilities are endless, and you can only imagine about that. There are a few trade-offs that you might need connectivity, and the lack of it means downtime in service. Think about the risk. Of course, the risk is much higher now because it's a global exposure. You're not just exposed to the people who have access to your server room, or So think about regulatory compliance. It's something that you need to think about, and I'm glad that someone has taken us through DPA, and also we've had the other session. So you might need to do more if you're going for a cloud platform when it comes to the compliance. Then data privacy. You might have to worry more about data privacy than if you are just set up in your local office kind of a setup. Then the other thing is, who do you outsource from? And now that will be directed by some of the trade-offs we have mentioned. And also, we need to ask, what are the bare minimums? What do I want to achieve with my cloud platforms? What is that must be there? And do these providers support that? So if you're talking about compliance, you're looking into this provider trying to see if they support the regulatory framework in Kenya. You're also looking at if they will support you as you try to get compliant. Then risk mitigation plan. Do you have one? Does this service provider support you in establishing one? Because if you really go into the cloud, then you need a risk mitigation plan. Then there's also a business continuity plan. I mean, we're talking about downtime, and therefore, what happens if there's downtime? You need to have a plan. So what are some of the options that the service provider, in this case, provides and to support you in your quest for a business continuity plan? So at that point now you can make a decision on who you want to use as a service provider. Then now there's another question I would ask, is going full cloud an option for big or small SACCOs? I'm saying this because in my endeavors I've visited a few big SACCOs, and I remember one IT manager telling me that they are big, and so the thought of it was we are too big to just go 100% cloud, and so if that is the question, I just want to share a short case study, not local, but just to try to see the possibility. Now, this is a famous financial entity, has 8 million customers, market valuation of 9 billion. It operates in 24 countries. Now, the total onboarding time when a customer want to become a customer, it's 8 minutes, just to have everything they need. Then there is their platform. In this case, it's 100% cloud. The number of employees supported or working for this entity is 1,500. So by any measure, we can talk about this is a big entity. Because if you check at maybe our biggest banks around, maybe market valuation is around maybe $2 billion. Yeah. So this by our measure, this is a big entity. Now, this entity is purely cloud. Their point of service, number one, is the app. So, if the question is if it is for the small or the big, I mean, both can benefit from cloud core banking. And we have cloud core banking partners who are to this scale, like the guys who support this entity. I will not mention them because, I mean, otherwise I'll be invoiced for marketing for them or something. And this entity, and this is what the CTO had to say. He said, the ease of integration, flexibility, and time to market has helped us to give our customer unrivaled technology-driven mobile banking experience. So the entity is N26. So it's a European non-traditional bank, or talk about it as a modern bank, where they don't have branches, and their back end is pure cloud. So they 100% embrace the cloud. Now, I think that marks the end of my presentation. I don't know whether there is any question. I think I have time to take one or two. Okay. Lack of any, I think I'll just say cloud is powerful, and it's important that we know the fortune is for the bold. And so it's a question of whether we are bold enough to embrace cloud core banking. Thank you.